The ethics of influence. In the year 2045, the United Nations General Assembly Hall stood as a beacon of human progress, its walls shimmering with holographic displays that translated speeches into every known language in real time. AI assistants, invisible but omnipresent, whispered contextual data and historical insights into the ears of delegates from across the globe. The world had shrunk, woven together by a global network that allowed instant access to information and immersive experiences from every corner of the planet. Yet beneath this veneer of unity, the age-old struggles of power, influence, and ethics simmered, threatening to boil over. Prime Minister Zara of the Republic of Eldoria approached the podium, her heart pounding like a war drum. Eldoria, a small but proud nation nestled in the shadow of giants, had long been a model of social equity and cultural preservation. Its economy, a delicate balance of state-managed industries and community-driven enterprises, had thrived under Zara's leadership, earning her nation accolades from the World Bank and UNESCO alike. Today, however, she faced a Goliath, President Aria of the United Federation, a superpower whose technological prowess and cultural dominance echoed the United States' Hollywood Golden Age and China's Belt and Road Initiative of decades past. Fellow delegates, Zara began, her voice amplified by the hall's advanced acoustics, I stand before you not to speak sympathy, but to demand justice. For years, the United Federation has inundated our nation with propaganda disguised as cultural exchange. Through immersive virtual reality simulations, they depict the utopia of free markets and individual success, ignoring the social fabric that holds our community together. She activated a holographic display, its images flickering like ghosts of a dystopian future. Scenes from Eldoria materialized. Protesters weaving signs demanding economic liberation, factories shutting due to foreign competition, and traditional artisans struggling to compete with mass-produced imports flooding the market. These are the fruits of the United Federation's gifts. Our youth, enthralled by VR simulations of capitalist paradise, reject our communal values. Our industries, unable to match the efficacy of AI-driven production, are collapsing. This is not progress, it is conquest by another name. Zara's eyes locked onto President Aria, who sat impassively, her serene demeanor a stark contrast in a storm of brewing in the hall. This is not soft power, Zara continued. This is economic warfare, and it must stop. A hush fell over the assembly as President Aria rose, her presence commanding like a queen ascending her throne. She was a figure of elegance and authority, a reputation as a visionary leader preceding her. The United Federation, a nation whose cultural exports had once been likened to the Beatles' invasion of America, and whose technological innovations mirrored Silicon Valley's dominance in the early 21st century, was a titan on the global stage. Prime Minister Zara raises important concerns, Aria acknowledged, her voice steady as a metronome. But let us examine the nature of these ideas, she fears. The United Federation has always believed in the power of ideas to transcend borders, to inspire change and foster progress. Our cultural exports, whether in the form of virtual reality experiences, AI-generated art, or educational programs, are offered freely to the world. If they find resonance in Eldoria, it is because they speak to the universal human desire for opportunity and self-determination. She turned to Zara, her gaze piercing yet composed. Is it ethical to censor these ideas simply because they challenge your government's policies? Or should we trust the people to discern the truth for themselves? History shows that suppressing ideas only breeds resentment and stagnation. The United Federation's strength comes from its coercion, not from coercion, but from inspiration. Zara clutched her fists. Frustration bubbled within her like a geyser ready to erupt. She knew Aria's words were seductive, a siren song that masked harsher truth. These ideas do not exist in a vacuum, President Aria. They are backed by your nation's economic might, designed to create markets for your products and dependencies for your technology. Our state industries are not failing because they are inferior, but because they cannot compete with your subsidized exports and predatory pricing. Aria's smile was faint but unwavering, a diplomat's shield against the rising tide of accusation. Competition is the engine of progress, Prime Minister. It drives efficiency, lowers costs, and spurs innovation. Yes, there are challenges, but we offer support, training programs, technology transfers, joint ventures to help nations adapt. The path to prosperity is not without obstacles. but it is a path worth taking. Zara recalled in a recent visit to a textile factory in Eldoria, now closed, its workers unemployed, and its looms silent. She thought of the annual cultural festival, once a vibrant celebration of Eldorian heritage, overshadowed by imported entertainment streaming through holographic projectors. Tell that to the families who have lost their livelihoods, she reported, her voice cracking with indignation. Your support comes too late, and often with conditions that erode. The debate intensified, each leader presenting their case with fervor. Arya spoke of historical precedents where the free flow of ideas had led to the societal advancements, the Renaissance sparked by the printing press, the Enlightenment fueled by philosophical treatises, and the digital revolution of the early 21st century. By the internet's boundless reach, Azara countered with examples of cultural imperialism and economic exploitation from the British East India Company's colonization of India in the modern day exploitation of African resources under the guise of development aid. Yet, as the discussion progressed, Zara sensed the tide turning. Delegates from nations that had benefited from the United Federation's policies, South Korea, whose economy had soared after adapting American-style capitalism, and Singapore, whose technological advancements mirrored the Federation's own, nodding in agreement with Arya. Even those from neutral countries seemed swayed by her vision of a connected, prosperous world reminiscent of the European Union's integration efforts 20th century. In a final attempt to sway opinions, Zara appealed to emotion, her voice trembling with conviction. Imagine your children raised on foreign ideals, forgetting their heritage. Imagine your economy is beholden to distant corporations, your policies dictated by external pressures. This is the future we face if we do not stand against this tide. Arya's response was measured, a masterclass in rhetorical finesse. Change is inevitable, Prime Minister, but it need not be feared. The United Federation does not seek to erase cultures, but to enrich them. Our own society is a tapestry of diverse influences, stronger for its openness. We invite Eldoria to join us in this grand experiment, to shape the future together. Zara struggled to counter, her arguments feeling like sand slipping through her fingers. She tried to articulate that not all ideas are benign, that some can be manipulative or serve vested interests, but Arya's logic was a steel trap, snapping shut on every rebuttal. The audience, captivated by Arya's appeal to freedom and individual agency, seemed to drift further from Zara's cause. With that, Arya delivered her closing statement. Her words resonated like a church bell tolling for unity. The ethics of influence lie not in the act of sharing ideas, but in the intention behind it. Our intention is clear: to empower, to uplift, to unite. The United Federation exists not for its own glory, but to illuminate the path forward for all humanity. We share our knowledge, our culture, our innovations, so that every nation may thrive. To restrict this flow is to dim the light of purpose. Let us instead embrace the future together, united in our diversity, strengthened by our shared aspirations. The assembly erupted in applause, the sound echoing through the hall like a tidal wave. Zara, though resolute in her beliefs, knew she had been outmaneuvered. Arya's narrative of progress and unity was too powerful, too appealing in a world hungry for hope. Much like the post-World War II era's embrace of American democracy and consumerism. As the session closed, Zara reflected on the path ahead. Perhaps there was a way to engage with the United Federation without surrendering Eldoria's identity, much like Japan's Meiji Restoration balanced tradition with modernization. Maybe through careful negotiation and strategic partnerships, they could harness the benefits of new ideas while safeguarding their values, akin to gross national happiness index, restricting globalization's homogenizing force. But for now, the debate was over, and the greater nation had prevailed, its narrative of progress and freedom proving too compelling to resist, echoing the victories of Western liberalism in the Cold War's ideological battles.